Tour guide here. Uh, yeah, I'm going live on my phone. And not sure how this is turning out. I have, I guess, no clue as to if this is showing up. I don't want to do that. Um, yeah, I'm having some issues here. Don't want to do green screen. How do we do this? There we go. Do nothing. Um, yeah, I've never gone live on my phone before, so I'm hoping this comes out in the horizontal aspect that I set it up as. Um, and I do see somebody in the chat. I'm gonna try to open that up. It's not letting me do anything like that. Hang on. Nope, I don't want to do that. Let's see here. All right, well, this is a little bit new territory for me, so. Oh, there we go. Chat filter, no. Community moderation, no. How do I just see my chat? I guess I can't. Well, the reason I'm having these issues, or the reason I'm having to go live, is because on my phone is because my computer is it's basically not working. And you probably would have been clued into that on my last couple of broadcasts. I was like live streaming and it would just cut off in the middle, right? My computer would just die. And now it's not even reading the hard drive, the solid state drive that's installed as um, the hard drive on my laptop. So I have a MacBook. It's old. It's from 20, I want to say it's from 2013. It was brand spanking new, just come off. It was a new Apple product at the time, MacBook Air, and I guess I got a lot of utility out of it. What is it? It's been over 12 years since I first got it. I feel like 12 years is all you can ask for devices these days. The OEMs don't want you using anything. They seem to think that, yeah, 10 years is the life cycle before you have to get a new one. Um, which sucks because not only is this computer having issues, my wife's Surface laptop is also just really slow and clunky and probably needs its operating system revamped. Oh, so I am seeing comments. You were sideways, brother. All right. Well, thanks. Well, thanks, William. That's good to know. I guess I have to broadcast like this, and that's fine. I mean, so I guess I'm in the market for a new computer because, yeah, again, my Apple MacBook Air died. It's dead. I tried. It's basically an old model. The operating system is just not. It's beyond. I think they did some updates recently, and now apparently the operating system I had installed, uh, I'm unable to just reinstall the OS. It's not giving me any options to do that. So I'm just assuming my Apple wants me to just, you know, uh, First off, I'm not getting an Apple computer. Um, I just feel like just barely over a decade. You should at least have like, I want to say not quite 2 decades worth of usage, but like somewhere closer to 15 before issues arise. But I know it's getting shorter and shorter. Back in the day, I remember used to use my computer really, really long time before I had to replace it. Um, yeah, I think, what was it? Last time I replaced my computer was the MacBook back in 2012, 2013. So prior to that, I want to say I got my computer like around 2002, somewhere around there, maybe a year earlier. Um, but that one had issues. I mean, it was having issues. Um, so I think I swapped that one out earlier and had another computer. And then when I moved, I left my main computer with my parents, and then I got a new computer. So I don't know. The timelines are all blurry, but it's, I really don't want to spend money on a new computer. Am I? Okay. I guess I look like Ralph Macchio, Asian Ralph Macchio. What's up, guys? What's up, Michaela? What's up, Kevin? Thanks for the compliment. I love Ralph Macchio. Justin, with Justice. What's up, Justice? They design Apple products like that now. Yeah, yeah. I know. Apple's. I think, especially, you have to use their ecosystem of products too. If you try to run any kind of like Windows-based type programs, um, it's clunky. It's going to cause issues. So don't try doing, like, you got to use the Apple version of like spreadsheets. I think it's called spreadsheets or something like that. Something stupid like that. But yeah, you have to use their entire ecosystem of products, but they've got good products. I do like, um, a lot of their photo and editing apps are good. Um, I don't want to say Apple's all bad, but they're definitely, like, like, I think the business standard for like Office is horrible on MacBook, and or on any kind of, I guess, Apple Mac product. So yeah, I've been pooping outside. No, I haven't been pooping outside. Said hi. What's up, Seuss? If you use PC, you can use every. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna get a PC this next time around. I don't know why I went with Apple. I did have a desktop, but that also died a while back. So I have this desktop computer just sitting here. I haven't bothered to upgrade it or do anything with that. But now I'm like computerless. I used to have my MacBook when my desktop died. Now my MacBook has died, so I've got nothing. All I got is my phone now. And I got my fantasy draft coming up. I'm sure a lot of you maybe have drafted or are drafting this weekend. Um, I'm not going to reveal. I don't know. I don't think my. So I'm in a work league, like I was last year, and I won my league last year, by the way. Um, but this year we're not doing a pay league. I mean, they're doing a pay league, but I decided to opt out of the pay league, and I'm just doing it like a friendly league this year. Um, just because, what are the odds of me going back to back? I'm confident in my fantasy football skills, but like, like the odds of going back to back. Plus, people know kind of like my strategy now. This was like last year was like one of those one-off things where I came in. Uh, I don't think I could have the same draft success. Uh, anyway, I just said, hey, you know what? I'm fine to do like a friendly league, non-pay league, but I'm not gonna, because it's like $100 to for the buy-in and all that. I mean, it's a big payout, but I'm just like $100, especially now that I need a computer and all this. So I just like that money's got to go to the computer. What's your favorite collectible you have? All right, Vinny. Yeah. It's right actually, comic right behind me. Um, I collect sports cards, comic books, and figures. Like I guess figures and manga, anime related stuff as well. But my main passion is comic books for sure. Um, and this is my favorite comic book in the collection. It's Action Comics 233, signed by Neil Adams. I've shown this off. I show this off every chance I get, so thanks for asking. It's right behind me. I don't mind showing it off. Um, that's that. There we go. I've been talking about Superman all summer. It's kind of good to just not talk about it. Dell is good. Yeah, I think Dell is good. HP, not so much. Dell is better than HP. I agree. Gut your desktop. Yeah, I would gut my desktop, but I don't know. I should have. I was in Japan. I should have just gotten a computer there because I think the I don't know how the interoperability of a Japanese computer would work here. I guess if you just set up the language and country details, it should all work the same, right? Um, why Asian get failed in driving test? Is it because of small eyes? Ha ha ha. Yeah, very funny, Chris Eyes. Yeah. Well, that's really funny. Yeah. Boy, you're a comedian. Um, the so basically, for me, this channel, I go live off my notebook computer or computer, and I talk about Superman comics or like my comic collection, what I picked up, just kind of thoughts from the week, where my collection is, and just a variety of comic related stuff. And yeah, this is sort of a, a different format because usually I go live and it's the horizontal format. It's more of a video, but this is kind of like a live phone thing, and it's the first time I'm doing it. So, um, you know, uh, I'm trying to keep things as same as possible. Just trying to keep the same format. It's a little difficult though because I'm just don't really have much to talk about this week. I don't have any books that I picked up this week. My family is back. My family came back on Thursday, yesterday, right? No, they came back on Wednesday. Sorry, excuse me. They came back on Wednesday, so it's been 2 days back. Really great to have them back. Yeah, it's definitely a different. The houses, has more energy. I just got back into my rhythm again with, my wife's dinners and me coming home to like uh, things going on. My kid running around and having to play with him and all that. So it's just really nice to have that back, because it was like Singlesville while I was while my wife and kid were in Japan. So I'd just come back and I'd either stream or plan my weekend for comic book hunting and all that, which is fun. It's fun, but it's, I wouldn't trade the single life for there's stuff going on in the community here. Um, so yeah, it's good to have the family back. Getting ready for my fantasy draft tomorrow. Um, I guess if who's doing fantasy football in the chat? Yeah, definitely, definitely, William. Family is everything. I'm sure for most of you as well. But um, it's just not the same. Yeah, even when they're gone just a little bit. My family was gone a couple months, but even if they're gone a couple days, it just feels like you know there's a big void. So it's definitely great to have them back. But yeah, who's doing fantasy football this year? And I guess put in the comments who you think is a must draft or maybe a late round steal or who you're targeting. One person that you're definitely targeting, maybe early, pulling them up a couple rounds to get them. I definitely have mine, and I'll reveal my roster uh, probably Sunday or Monday. Now, it's funny because a couple videos ago, I told you that, oh, this is my last comic book haul of the summer because I've run out of money. And then I think I did another video where I extended my going over budget. I dipped into the budget again, kind of gave myself some more credit. So I was over budget 15, and then I extended that to about 20 bucks. Picked up another book, a couple books actually. And then I decided to go and get another $16 book off eBay. And the reason that happened was because there was a book I really wanted. And I kind of just threw a low ball offer at the guy. Because I figured, if he accepts that, that's something I would get at that price. He had it for a lot higher. And he accepted. So I was kind of like, oh man, should I? Yeah, I just went through with it. I was just like, so I'm over 20 bucks, and that purchase put me over now 36 bucks. But surprisingly, my wife hasn't said anything about it. So all is good. I just think I just can't spend any more on comics because it'll become an issue then. So from here on out, to probably the end of the year, and really I don't have much of a desire. I'm kind of in the fall cadence now. There's a lot of things going on with my son starting school, getting ready for the holiday season and just kind of closing out the year quietly. That should be good. Yeah, I need to take more pictures. I do kind of get, because when we're together, I rarely want to just shoot photos all the time, but probably is good to do some of that, take some videos and all that too. Yeah. Hey, Anu Billy? Annabelle. Oh, sorry, Annabelle. I can't read. Hi, Annabelle. How are things in Pakistan? Hope all is well with you there. I'm sure it's probably midday in Pakistan. But thank you for joining. So, yeah, I have one more eBay purchase coming in the mail. I'm hoping to get it tomorrow night, but we'll just have to see. It just departed Colorado, so its next destination will be here in Seattle. So if I get the notification tonight that it hit Seattle, I may be getting it tomorrow. Um, if I get that message on Saturday night, I doubt I'll get it Sunday. I'll probably get it Monday. But when we do get it, I am going to reveal what it is. It's a great book. Uh, yeah, I'll just reveal that it's a Neil Adams book. It's a Neil Adams book, and it is low grade, uh, but it's such a spectacular. But it's everything I love about Neil Adams and comic book collecting. So when we get it, we'll reveal what it is and kind of talk about why it's fabulous. All right. There's a lot of things happening with, uh, I guess, it's weird because I think we're all siloed into getting this feed of, oh, this is trending, or this is like, like it's our siloed trends. But within my kind of siloed view on social media, there was a Gap ad that came out, and the group in that ad is named Cat's Eye, and they just apparently are going viral because of the jeans ad they did. So that was big on my algorithm. I don't know if it was big on your algorithms, but Neil Adams, Jim are the best. Yes, I agree with you there. Yeah, so that was blowing up Cat's Eye. So I'm getting this just 24/7 feed of Cat's Eye stuff. You follow the group and you like a couple of those like posts and ads and stuff, and they just flood your network with it. It slowed off a little bit, but that was big. And then there have been some, like Peacemaker season 2 got underway. I think we're into episode 2 now. I think episode 2 revealed the Justice Gang and that whole scene. I did watch the scene a little bit, and like that excerpt of the scene. It's a pretty funny scene. But yeah, apparently people like Peacemaker. Talked to some of my comic book community people, and I watched a couple of videos where they're kind of reviewing it or giving their thoughts on it. And overall, they're just saying it's a very adult oriented content, but all in all, it's something people are enjoying, it seems, and they are kind of connecting it to the larger DC universe that's being revealed bit by bit, and that's all good. That's all crazy and good. I want to talk about, though, one very specific thing, and I love the giant starfish. Yeah, Starro. Is that Starro? Yeah. This was in Suicide Squad, I'm assuming. Yeah. Unless he came back in episode 2. Did Starro come back in episode 2? Maybe it's oh, he did. Oh, okay. That's crazy. I really want to see it. I was even like debating, should I get, there's like a Hulu pack, or there's a package where you can get like Disney Plus, Hulu, and HBO Max or something for like 16.99 a month. And I was like, man, should we get that? But my wife doesn't watch American content all that much, and she has this free kind of streaming service where she can watch literally every program in Japan. So her entertainment needs are met, and we all kind of watch on separate stuff. We don't really watch as a family yet because we're trying to keep Leo from like video games and TV until he's a little older. Um, so yeah, it's coming, but I just know there's going to be a lot of spending maybe next year. I think we're going to hold off on like any kind of upgrades till next year, and I'm hoping some additional money comes in through work just with end of the year stuff, and we'll see what happens there. What's up, Annabelle? I am from Lahore, Pakistan. It's 9:20 a.m. here. Oh, in the morning, okay. I joined a new live for the first time. It is you. I liked your talks. Okay, thank you. Well, yeah, happy to have you here. I'm usually, kind of going live at this hour, and I'm sure it's what, Saturday morning for you. So hopefully, you can check in from time to time or watch us on the rewind. But appreciate you being here. Thank you. Um, yeah, I know. Um, we got some regulars on here, and this is going back to, we're going to talk about Superman again. All right. First off, I really enjoyed the Superman film, as you all know. But you go back and watch my video, my my criticisms about the movie um, was the fact that they made Jor-El and Lara, um, that they made them kind of these, like, I don't know, like robotic. They made them a little robotic, and then they made them kind of heartless. Like they had sent their son to conquer Earth, right? They were telling him, hey, go conquer the Earth, make them your slaves, uh, make a harem, and like have all these like Kryptonian human half breed like children, like basically rule Earth, right? And what that was the thing that bugged me the most about that. And you know but anyway, it didn't sit well with my uh, comic book community bestie, Naman the Draman, uh, aka a comic book worm. He just recently put out, and I'm going to try to link it in this video as well. But he recently put out a video talking about that specific detail. And so his theory, I've completely adopted his theory. I honestly think he has such an accurate take, and what we can expect in the second film is more, is essentially uh, unraveling that piece. So right now, a lot of Superman fans, if you saw that and you think, oh man, they made Jor-El evil, that doesn't sit right with me. Sure, there are a lot of fans like that, thinking and saying that. Well, I think that was intentional. I think Gunn made that scene intentional, and the way Comic Bookworm explained it was, if you go and watch uh, Superman Adventures, okay, Brainiac's origin in comics is very different than, I think, the version we're going to be introduced. And I think Brainiac is coming. Brainiac is going to be the villain in the next movie. And again, go watch Comic Book Worm's video explanation. He probably does a better explanation of that, but I'm going to try to break down what Naman presents in this video because I completely agree with his assessment. 11:20. What's up, Texas? Texas in the house. So let me get my Brainiac comic as we talk about this. Where is it? I think it's coming up here somewhere. There it is. This is it. This is the Brainiac and first Brainiac Luthor team up here on Superman 167. And okay, so we're going to reveal some details about the movie. Okay, so as you know, Luthor and the Engineer break into the Fortress of Solitude, and the Engineer, she has these like they're these like nanobots that are part of her, nanites, I think. And she's able to like kind of disintegrate into these like micro machines and kind of connect with the supercomputer in the Fortress of Solitude. And she absorbs all this information, and she learns or gets a translation for the Kryptonian message, and they decipher it. And basically what it translates to is, again, the Jor-El telling his son, hey, you gotta rule Earth, you gotta enslave these humans, rape their women and have all these like illegitimate children. And the mother's on board too. The mother's saying, yeah, like create your harems and go to town. And then, so Naman-hyung's explanation, and this goes back to, again, Superman Adventures introduces an origin story, much like the origin story we're used to. But Jor-El is again trying to convince the Kryptonian Council, hey, I have all this data that shows the planet's gonna explode, right? So we gotta evacuate the planet. Well, Jor-El had a supercomputer, an AI computer system that was again, serving Jor-El with his scientific experiments. It was, for all intents and purposes, a loyal computer, right? Just a computer that was like working and doing all this thing. But when Jor-El presented his data, Brainiac, the computer, distorted the data and made it look like Jor-El was making it up. Like he was like, like he was crazy, right? He was just basically like, hey, I've got all this data. And then when the Kryptonian Council viewed the data, or they asked the computer, hey, is this really going to happen? The computer basically lied and said, no, it's not. Krypton, all the readings are sound. Nothing eminent's going to happen. And so the Kryptonian Council basically like shuns him and says, hey, we're going to send you to prison for trying to create a panic and all this. And like Jor-El's able to escape, like, and get back to his lab and basically say, hey, you know what, we got to just ship our son off because they're going to arrest us for like treason and all this. And I want my kid to survive. So in the Superman Adventures animated series, this is all presented. Brainiac is this evil computer. They ship Kal-El off Jor-El doesn't realize yet that I think Brainiac is evil, or maybe he does in the final moments, but he can't do anything about it. And then again, Brainiac is this like computer system, so we don't know how much of that comes with Kal-El and the ship. But you, assuming, okay, just assuming that origin story is the one Gunn is adopting for this movie, it makes complete sense. In that, if the engineer had gone into the computer and maybe unlocked or unleashed a program that maybe was locked in this sort of like, because ultimately what the Fortress of Solitude is a series of uh, kind of like I guess you'd just say like stored data, and then when Clark's ship hits and he kind of discovers his powers and then activates a lot of the stuff from his ship to form the Fortress of Solitude through whatever the crystals or whatever, and this construct just arises out of whatever stored energies in those crystals, those informations. And then with that information, I think Kal-El is able to get instructions on how to, revive some Kryptonian technology and instructions on how to build the robots and all this. And so that's kind of what Gunn presents us with. I'm sure he has this, Kal-El has this template of stuff that he's kind of building off the information his father left him. And then he has that computer. He has this computer that the robots and Jor-El are all kind of operating behind. But how much of Brainiac is in that computer is yet to be seen. And I'm thinking whatever the engineer did unlocked Brainiac, and Brainiac's now in the engineer, like dormant, right? But Brainiac's also the one that distorted the message in order to maybe make Kal-El sort of a partner in taking over this new planet, right? Just having him assert a certain amount of control and power over the people of Earth, and then all Brainiac would have to do to assert that control is just get rid of Superman, right? And Brainiac probably has files on maybe how to dispose of Kryptonians exposed to a yellow sun, right? Whatever the science behind that would be. What's apparent is the message got distorted, and again, the scene with the engineer, like she's going into the computer, she feels something like working through her. Again, Namanyang and I think that being or that thing that was in the computer is some kind of virus, and that virus will end up kind of coming to the forefront and being revealed as a remnant of that Brainiac computer from Krypton. And now here it's on Earth, it's sentient, it's going to do everything in its power to manipulate, technology, information, digital information, and go from there, right? Maybe take over some kind of like android form, and then create a body for itself, and there's all these possibilities on what Brainiac can be, from like bits of information to a fully sentient like robot that controls Earth systems and all that. So I think what's likely to happen is Brainiac understands, hey, you know what? This Luther person, he's pretty smart. Maybe I should, get him out of prison and then partner with him to destroy Kal-El. And I think that's kind of like where the second movie will kind of pivot toward. Um, and we really honestly think it's going to be Brainiac because, again, I think the idea that Brainiac, rather than this like alien kind of creature, uh, the fact that Brainiac would be an AI model that does its own Skynet conversion, right? It becomes like the Terminator Skynet that destroys Krypton, right? Something to that magnitude. That would be in line with where the modern version of comics is, right? Yes. So I think, again, go watch that video by Naman Hyung. What he presents a very compelling argument, again, based on that Superman Adventures origin story of where Brainiac is this computer serving Jor-El for scientific purposes, but for whatever reason becomes sentient and desires power and control and wants to destroy Krypton so it can, again, uh, serve its own nefarious computing agenda. And I think that part, the Krypton being destroyed part, gets fully realized, and then somehow the Brainiac virus or whatever you want to call it, comes and infects the computer systems of the Fortress of Solitude, and then and the engineer ends up exposing it to more maybe Earth systems, and then boom, you're left with some manifestation of the Brainiac being. It will be a super android, like a super intelligent uh, android. Uh, yeah, basically a super robot, and super smart, super computational, I guess. And that's a scary thing because with the way our society is so connected, it's I mean the IT network, right? We've connected everything to um, a digital footprint. There's nothing there's nothing these days that's not connected. Even like even our most I don't know, yeah, like all our information's connected digitally. All organizations have some kind of you know, web footprint or web engagement. It's completely pervasive. I don't know anybody living off the grid right now. Yeah, we are living in Skynet. Um, I know it'd be later, but I wonder if we'll see live action Zatanna, maybe Huntress. That would be cool since they are. Yes, that's another great point. You know, I think Brave and the Bold, we're all waiting to see how that unfolds. And a lot of people are predicting Batman, but I think you're absolutely right, William. I think it'll be more than just Batman. It'll be a host of, you know, maybe those characters you mentioned, right? Um, I think the whole Batman family, there's so much to explore there. Like who, you know, outside of the Gordons, um, the Robins, the various Robins there are. Uh, there's just so much there that you could focus on and introduce. So the more details we'll get with that, the more I think fans will be excited to see. But yeah, it should be it should be a good. I think it's going to be its own little just standalone thing, right? Brave and the Bold, and you're just going to get introduced, like just like we got in Superman, we got introduced to the cast of characters and the core group of the Superman clan. Then you're going to have that with the Batman clan. So what that will look like will be very interesting, and at some point those clans will unite, and so will the Wonder Woman clan, and it'll all be good. I think we're building towards something very exciting. Yeah, but going back to the Superman, our theories. This is all It's all theoretical right now, um, but I think based on the little, you know, clues that we were given in the first movie, and again, I trust Hyung because Hyung, when he revealed it to me, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Because that the whole evil Jarrell thing didn't sit well with me. But if it was something Jarrell's computer, and the computer, if it's doing something nefarious and evil because it's sentient, it just all makes sense that that would be Brainiac, again, from the Superman Adventures origin. And that would, whatever Brainiac did to circumvent the destruction of Krypton, that version, that information, that the remnants of that system are now here on Earth and will now, you know, will realize and use Earth systems to kind of grow and take over and again create maybe a physical physical body and like a real interconnected threat. You know, I think more terrifying than an actual robot is a robot's mind that's connected with all of Earth's systems and controls the nuclear codes, that controls microphones. It's kind of like the CIA, right? The CIA at a global scale, right? Just controls everything. Our banking system, or our military systems, our, you know, our business systems, our home sanctuaries, right? My broken computers. So it just controls everything. I wish Brainiac would come and fix my MacBook, um, and liberate us from Apple's control, right? But yeah, Cassandra Cain, that would be cool. Yeah, I think again, there's so many DC characters that I think Gunn is going to try to bring them all in. What I'm really heartened to hear and see is Gunn keeps mentioning the Authority, and what we need to realize is the Authority is a Wildstorm, Jim Lee Wildstorm creation, and if Gunn can successfully make the transition to bring Wildstorm content and characters into the DC. I mean, we already have it in comics to an extent, but if we can bring that into the DC universe, then we're gonna see the Wildcats. We're gonna see Grifter. We're gonna see and I called this like way back when they first announced the Authority. I was excited, like, okay, this gives us an in to more Wildstorm stuff. So Gen 13, the Wildcats, maybe even a Stormwatch, right? All that stuff could potentially be coming. But that's kind of getting a little ahead of ourselves. I really am just taking projects one piece at a time. I'm curious to see what we can glean from the Peacemaker Season 2 series. And they've already introduced the multiverse, that the pocket universes create multiple timelines. Right now, Peacemaker's dealing with a timeline where he's a successful hero. Of course, he kills him off, but that that alternate reality exists out there, and it's parallel to his, right? So the fact that we have these like parallel Earths, maybe an infinite number of parallel Earths, that's all in line with some of the crisis stories we've seen throughout DC's history. So, what version of the crisis event we'll see, I'm very curious. They might go like super modern crisis on us and just bring like dark crisis, right? The Dark Knights. We may get Batman who laughs. How crazy would that be to get Batman who laughs before we got any other like version of a crisis thing? But I think we are going to be working towards some crisis event and some, you know, big sort of Justice League versus Legion of Doom event, as well as a Superman versus the anti-Superman, whether that be Superman Prime or Superboy Prime, Ultraman, Bizarro, whatever you want to call him, but a person as strong as Superman, and just having all the heroes and villains kind of pair up and fight each other. That's I think closer to reality than anything. The Authority, yes. I think The Authority is it's going to be fun to watch, because ultimately what we're going to get with The Authority is a team, kind of like a black ops team, right? Like a team that kind of operates in the shadows, isn't afraid to do some of the more morally questionable things to achieve outcomes. It's got its own sort of. I like to think that it would take the tone of The Boys, right? You just got this ragtag group of like people who have an agenda to maybe fight certain systemic forces, but take shortcuts to do it. Like they're fighting for a noble cause, but they're taking so many moral like shortcuts to achieve their mission, right? So something like an imperfect type superhero team, that would be great. And then of course there's the juxtaposition of that with Superman. But all of that stuff is just really compelling to just speculate and think about how it's going to play out. So I'm very excited. I think kind of focusing on specifics now than being like, well, I'm just curious to see what they'll do. I think, again, going back to Naman Young's point, I think we're going to get Brainiac. I think Brainiac's going to work with Luthor to help it achieve its, going from just like a data set to actual like living computer, right? Like an Android type uh, computer with maybe super strength and all this other stuff. So it'll just be interesting to see how they introduce Brainiac, how Brainiac comes to be, because I don't think it will be anything. It will not be the Silver Age origin of Brainiac, where Brainiac's just kind of traveling through space and destroying, toying with like different planets and systems just to like, you know, kind of destroy them, but keep all some of these like cultural artifacts as trophies of like worlds he's destroyed and all that, and that he's just super smart, right? He's this like Kryptonian. Uh, he's not even Kryptonian, right? He's just kind of this like uh, being that's been to many different planets, and then he's garnered all this knowledge, and he just kind of goes from system to system, trying to destroy worlds and kind of use them as trophies and shrink them down. Like Kandor, he shrinks down, right? And then there's all these other, um, planets and civilizations he's impacted and destroyed. So all that stuff is fun to think about. Ra's al Ghul. That's, I think if we're gonna go Batman, who would be a good? I know we're getting Bane, and we're getting Deathstroke, right? We're getting Bane and Deathstroke in the same series, I believe, right? Oh no, is it Bane and Clayface? Anyway, it's Bane and I think Deathstroke teaming up. We're getting that, but I think Batman, the logical first villain you'd want to introduce in Batman would be the Joker. Like that would be the first expectation. But because I don't see James Gunn wanting to do that, right? He's already saying, look, I'm not going to introduce the origin story. That leads me to believe he's not going to do the villain everybody's expecting. So I don't think it'll be Joker. It could be Bane. I mean, they're bringing Clayface, right? So it could be Clayface. Clayface is supposed to be some kind of horror movie or animation or something. We had Riddler as the first. In the Matt Reeves version, it was Riddler, right? Just so hard to like. Batman has so many different villains. It really could be just anybody. Ra's al Ghul, it could be Bane, it could be Scarecrow, it could be Riddler. It could be any host of villains. I mean, it might even be Catwoman, right? We might get like a full-on like Catwoman as his arch nemesis introduced in The Brave and the Bold. Who knows? But I think whoever the villain is, it's going to be. This is my bet. I don't think we're going to see a villain that. We're not going to see your typical villain. It's going to be some villain that's known to most comic book fans, but maybe not as familiar to movie fans. So I think, as you said, right, William, I think your prediction is in line with what maybe Gunn might do, right? Although we did get Ra's al Ghul. I'm trying to think, who haven't we seen yet? Oh, I just want to go with somebody. Mr. Freeze? No, Mr. Freeze, we saw Arnold Schwarzenegger was Mr. Freeze. Harley Quinn? Harley Quinn was introduced in the Suicide Squad, but Gunn has confirmed that Suicide Squad is not canon. So the Idris Elba, Margot Robbie Suicide Squad is part of that Snyderverse. But we know this is a parallel Earth, so those characters are still in play. It's just that timeline is not. So I can totally see it being Harley Quinn. With how popular Margot Robbie is, if you attached her to that Brave and the Bold project, oh my god, that would just be like her against Batman. And like seeing the real her, right? Like the real sort of like crazy but funny dialogue throughout, just kind of just fighting and bashing her way into causing chaos for the Batman family. Like it might be her. I can really just see it being like her at first, and then the big reveal is like Joker later, right? Because we've yet to see Batman versus Joker and Harley Quinn, or maybe just like a rogues gallery of Arkham, Arkham people. So you just get all the crazies, like you get all the crazies from Arkham just joining forces. Those kinds of scenarios are exciting to think about. What's up, Mike? Scarecrow, if they do it right, they should slow roll the. Yeah, I agree. But if you're gonna have Harley, right? I don't know why you wouldn't. I think a lot of people would want to see them together, right? Just kind of being their own version of Batman and Robin. That would be kind of cool. Watch them mix. Yeah, I think Nitzlpick is Nitzlpidlik or whatever how they ever pronounce it. Uh, Mixelpilk is going to be. I think we're gonna see it. I think we're gonna see Batmite and Mixelpilk, Mr. Mixelpilk, at some point. Um, they've teased it, right? They've teased the imps. Uh, so again, Mr. Middle, Mr. Mixelpilk, and Batmite. These are classic imp characters from the Superman and Batman storylines. So that would be kind of cool, actually. Because I think you could do. I think a good way to introduce them might be through animation first, and not that have them be core characters, but like kind of just playing pranks um, as a main storyline is unfolding. Like for example, the rise of Brainiac, right? If you had Nitzlpidalik as sort of this side quest that just is annoying Superman as he's trying to do like focus on defeating a larger enemy. That kind of fits with the lighter tone of something of like a mystery, or he's a race against Brainiac, like trying to counter Brainiac's moves before Brainiac can achieve some kind of goal, right? That would be, I think, a good possibility to just run. Like, you wouldn't want to see a standalone Mr. Pidalick like movie, but like he just pops in here and there as Superman's just trying to defeat like Luthor and Brainiac, right? That would be hilarious. So something along those lines. Or to see the Joker kill Robin. Kill Robin or live action Nightwing. Whoa, Harville, you went there, man. That would be cool to see. That's going ultra dark though. But yeah, that would create a whole host of. That would open up a whole can of worms with Joker killing Robin. I mean, that would just like. I mean, you introduce Robin and then you kill him off. Wow, that would just like. I could see it though. I could see it. Um, yeah, the Joker that laughs. I do want to see the Joker that laughs. I think with the Pocket Universe stuff, that is that's a real possibility. Because you don't have to go strictly Dark Knights. What you're doing is you're just like, right? You're creating all these like pocket sort of parallel crisis events. And yeah, you could have the Anti-Monitor. You could have the Batman Who Laughs. You could have, uh, what's the other one? You could have Superboy Prime, right? You could have all these like crisis event trigger characters just showing up at once, right? Just like converging on the main line. That would just, I think that would just be too much, and it would just literally pop blood vessels in comic book community fandom. Like, no, they're not doing, like, it would just like, you just have this like hemorrhaging of like blood cells if they did something like that. Just this like, yeah, we're just going to introduce everybody, and now the Justice League, quote unquote, Justice Gang has to respond, right? That would just be nuts. What's up, fanboy? All right, we got our crew here. We got our crew in the house. So hey, fanboy, did you watch the video like I told you? Your thoughts? I just laid it out here for the community here. We know, I am convinced now the next villain in Superman will be Brainiac, and they'll close that loop on why Jor-El gave that funky message, you know, that's out of character, right? Uh, so it was a message distorted by Brainiac, and we're going with the Superman Adventures origin story. The Superman Adventures origin story is Brainiac was this computer serving Jor-El with science and all that. He was serving the Kryptonian. He was the AI computer of Krypton, serving everybody, but serving Jor-El because Jor-El, I guess, helped to create him, right? But then he backstabs the entire planet by hiding the geological data from the Kryptonian Council, or distorting it, and only Jor-El knows the truth, but it's too late. So that's the version I'm sticking with and going with, and it totally makes sense. If that's the origin, then that would be the reason why you see that distorted message when the engineer goes in and probes around. She unlocks Brainiac, and Brainiac releases this bogus, it's basically a fake video, right, of Jor-El's message to his son. There it is. That's the theory. That's what we're sticking with. And I think that's what you can expect. That's what you can expect. Now, I don't want to get this theory out there because I actually want to see it. I actually want to see this version of what's in my mind, what I'm proposing and all that. I just hope James Gunn doesn't listen to this and be like, "Oh man, now we got to change it up. We got to do something different because this dude on YouTube basically he outed us." But we'll see. I hope it is some version of that, which would be a cool version, by the way. You know, um, we do want to see Brainiac, right? Brainiac's that character we haven't seen outside of the animation stuff. I don't think we've seen him in live action ever. Correct me if I'm wrong. No. I think wasn't Brainiac in some Snyderverse version or something? I want to say no, but maybe he was. Maybe a mention of him was. Like, but anyway, that would be cool. Just don't make him like this green, like this guy, this green version of Lex with like, you know, nodules stuck to his forehead. That is just like the worst. I don't even know what that is. He's just got these lights sticking out of at his green face. It just and he's just the design, green and pink. Come on, it just made him look like some kind of Star Trek alien or something. Has Brainiac ever fought Supergirl? Yeah, I think there's a lot of versions where like she goes looking for the truth, and she learns that Brainiac, because like in the comics, right? In the comics, I think there's some connection between the section of Krypton that broke off, that her father, like her father ends up building some kind of like force field or whatever, that when the planet explodes, it protects a chunk of Krypton and it keeps everybody alive with that technology as they're floating out around. And then I think Brainiac has something to do with the demise of that, or maybe not. Maybe it's I think it's just some other like suns. I have to go back and read it, but it's some other like sun system they encounter, and or no, like there's a radiate. So if we're talking about the original Superman comics, right? It's just something that's happening in that force field structure. It just the radiation's leaking out, and I think in the Woman of Tomorrow, they kind of flesh that out and make it a lot more horrible. Like people are just like dying from this like plague essentially. So she watches her entire planet die of like a radiation plague, um, before she's jettisoned off to Earth like her cousin. So yeah, I want to say there's some kind of connection there. Like Brainiac has probably something to do with the destruction of both, the Krypton planet itself, and then the section of Krypton that was helping the refugees of Krypton to survive for a little bit, and then that gets destroyed as well. And Kara and Kal-El are the only survivors at the end of the day. Did you just drop that you're friends with James Gunn? No, I'm not friends with James Gunn. He might watch my videos though. Who knows? I'm sure he's watching a lot of videos that of fan theories and stuff, just to see what the fans are thinking. Is that just my warped thinking, my warped brain thinking, my brainiac brain thinking on its own? I can see that. That explains why she's so out of control. Yeah, the Woman of Tomorrow, like she's really like traumatized and dealing with trauma essentially, right? But then I think she goes through her whole little arc where she's in the Woman of Tomorrow. She's saving this girl, who saw her parents murdered, right, by this like what's his name, Eric the Red or something. Anyway, he's this just like space. He's the planet's like pirate or something. He's just this thug, and anyway, she has like no powers on this planet because she's in a red sun planet, right? And no powers, just trying to protect this little girl. And um, so it's kind of like she's just this woman who's fighting against this thug, and yeah, she can be killed and doesn't have invulnerability or anything like that. She's bleeding and doing all this stuff, and she's like, but that whole ordeal of protecting this innocent girl kind of brings her out of her funk and shows her, like, you know what, I have purpose. I have to honor the legacy of my father, um, and the House of L, right? She has to honor the legacy of the House of L, and she sees like her cousin now, um, what he's doing, and that's kind of probably what snaps her out of it. Whatever happens to her in this like gun version of the movie. I'm sure it'll parallel what's going on in that specific comic. But yeah, she's going to be kind of just dealing with a lot of chaos in her life and just feeling sorry for herself, feeling like that, what's the point? Like maybe close to like depression and suicide, and just like she's pulled back into the fray by having to protect uh, people people who are more vulnerable than her, right? The innocent. And so think whatever form that takes, you got Lobo in it, and right now I think they're test screening the Supergirl movie with audiences. Apparently the audiences love it. A lot of the people behind the project also are just raving. Of course they're expected to rave about it, but it's one thing to just kind of be like not say anything about it versus like, oh man, we've got a good product coming down the run, the pipeline. It those are two very different things when you're just kind of like getting something out there to be out there versus like, oh, we're proud of what we made, you're gonna love it, kind of thing. So um yeah, the I really think the Supergirl project will have the same kind of impact that Superman did, but with a very different presentation, because we've never seen the dark, broody Supergirl yet. Supergirl's always been this like beacon of like hope and light, and she's like the Helen Slater Supergirl. Like, I'm so pretty. Look at my blonde hair, and I'm just Superman's, like hot, female cousin, and I'm a little bit, more like feminine and dainty, but I have his powers. I can fight for truth, justice, and the American way as good as he can, and all that. No, no, we're getting like full on drunk, cussy, kind of cunty Supergirl. But at the end of the day, she is a hero. So we'll just see what that kind of what that kind of version translates to. Um, but yeah, so let me just go over kind of like, again, this is going to be the format for Otaku Weekly moving forward. Just live broadcasting from my phone. I'm just finding it's like actually kind of soothing to be in the not landscape mode. What is this? The portrait mode. It's kind of weird angle, but I guess don't see all my comics back there, but I guess it's not so bad. Um, but yeah, this is kind of the format moving forward. I can see the comments here, so be able to kind of respond to everybody. I guess when I show off the comics, it'll cover my face, do something like that, right? I'm peeking out from behind, but we can show off comics like that, get the full portrait view right there. It's nice. So I am planning to do sort of a wrap-up series of videos of all the stuff we picked up this summer. That's going to be fun. Um, Let me just drop some statistics on you. So we picked up something like 220 comic books. That's not an accurate count. That's like a ballpark figure. 220 comic books. Of the 220 comic books, 203 of those comic books were DC books. Okay, so practically the majority of the books, of the 220 so books, are DC books. So overwhelmingly DC books. Now, of those DC books, I think we picked up something like 144. So again, of the 203 DC books, 144, almost, what is that? Yeah, uh, almost 3/4 of the books, almost 3/4 of the books are Superman books, Superman adjacent, Superman related, and we're counting like World's Finest, right? These are Superman books. So almost nearly 3/4 of what the DC books we picked up are Superman books. Um, the rest are, you know, just either Justice League, Wonder Woman, Batman, just a kind of sort of a hodgepodge of stuff. I think of the 50, 60 books that aren't Superman, the majority of those books are Batman books. Yeah, Batman books. And then I think then like maybe Wonder Woman books, and then Justice League and different. So I got to do like a more accurate count, but that's kind of the breakdown of what we picked up. So again, if you watch my videos, you'll kind of know the vast majority of what we picked up in the summer of Superman was Superman. And yeah, I just want to say it was the best summer of comic book pickups ever. And let me add a little bit of um, subtext to that. In previous years, we've had bigger budgets. In fact, the summer prior to this summer, I think I spent almost $1,200 on books over the same period, the same 2-3 month period, right? Because we had a part-time job. We were devoting nearly all of what we were earning to the summer comic book budget. And so we were just kind of like just spending, just we see books we like, we pick them up, and just kind of just nilly-willy spending. And we probably overpaid for a bunch of books, but we're just kind of going into a comic book shop and just, if we see it and like it, if we run into something and we like it, whatever we run into and I like it, it's my young calling, boom, I'm gonna just get it, right? It was kind of just like random. Let's see what we can pick up this week. Oh, I found this one. That means I'm picking it up because it's a Destiny book. I was destined to find this book. Now it's part of my collection. That was previous summers where we had bigger budgets and we picked up a lot of cool stuff, a lot of the stuff we were targeting too. But that was the process. So spent a lot more, picked up a lot of stuff we were targeting wanted, but also picked up a lot of stuff that, based on my lens or my view today, probably would not have made it into my collection this summer. So those are big differences from what we picked up this summer versus previous summers. So bigger budgets, a little bit more kind of less disciplined, I guess, kind of spending and picking up. But also picking up some just like big key books. And of course, always picking up Superman, always picking up stuff we want. So, I'm not saying the previous years were wasted years. We definitely, like, again, last year's when I picked up the Neil Adams signature book, just the biggest pickup, biggest grail book we could have picked up. That goes down as a hands down book in my collection, right? So that wasn't this year, that was the year previous. So, but this year what's interesting was the most focused and lucky, meaning a variety of things happened this summer that contributed to, even with the smaller budget that we had, just a variety of factors contributed to us just picking up a lot of Superman. and it's just little things here and there. Like for example, going to what's a good example? Going to Sten Brothers, right? On that early first haul, going to Sten Brothers, picking up a couple of Superman related books, but then having the owner just throw in like 10 additional Superman books. Because I said I like Superman. I said I like Superman, and he just threw in a bunch of like 90 Superman books that I didn't have in my collection that are now there as just like add-ons, um, things like that happened. Of course, I can't forget uh, G Lantern Comics. We've been kind of talking here and there about meeting up and doing a trade, and we finally schedule a time to do it. And he just gifts me all these like Silver Age Superman comics and just like a short box full of DC books, and and I was just like so blown away by that. Um, and so like that happening, right? Um, and yeah, and just the fact that Jeff of Ancient Comics, he comes back, and lo and behold, the Quarter Bins come back, and I basically just took every like he had a bunch of Bronze Age Superman books in there. Well, DC Comics Presents books for a quarter. Picked all that stuff up, so it was just really one of those like just it just seemed like that that train of luck throughout the summer of Superman. It was just like I was destined to pick up Superman books this summer. It was just there. The destiny, the Superman Young was strong this summer. Hence, again, uh, had about what a $300 budget for just our comics this summer, and again 144 Superman books. It's insane that we picked up that many on a budget around three. I mean, we went over 300, but I spent less than I thought I would in Japan, and just applied that money here in the U.S. So I'd say in all, we spent about $236 because I'm over 30. My budget by $36. Um, $336 a summer, 144 Jim Lee books, over 200, about 220 comic books altogether on a $330 budget. That's pretty good, I would say. Um, Definitely a voluminous haul. As always, I always kind of, because I'm doing the value hauls, right? Irregardless if I have $1,000 or $200, I'm always like kind of looking for some volume along with maybe a big book here and there, but mostly it's like give me the dollar bin stuff, give me the quarter bin stuff, give me anything with not a condition grade snob or condition snob. I actually haven't. I rarely buy graded books because I just think like why, like what is a. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from people who go after grades, but that's just no way to collect. I'm sorry. If you have a 9.8 some of a book you really really love, that's great. But to just go after 9.8s for modern books, or like that, just putting you in such a like a narrow, it's just not the way to collect. It's not fun. um, and you just approaching it like this hobby is an investment, which it shouldn't be. You should not be approaching comic book uh, because you think, oh, these books are going to pay for your retirement or anything. This is a hobby. Just enjoy the artwork, the stories, how the book in your collection makes you feel. And so, yeah, if it makes you feel like the more pristine and high grade, you know, encapsulation of the book makes you like it better, then by all means collect that. But if you're like most of us, keep it raw, keep it accessible, know what grade you're buying, don't overpay, because grade does matter. At the end of the day, you should not be paying $2 for a near mint copy, and you should not be paying $100 for a low grade copy. Um, you shouldn't generally you should not be paying over $100 for most books unless they're like big keys, and again, unless they're high grade big keys. Now, you know, I picked up my first Golden Age Superman book. We're talking about Golden Age Superman titled book recently, and it's a coverless. I mean, it is just like it's shot to bits, but I love that book. I love that book because I get to. I love that book because it's been through a lot over its, it's what, from 1953. So we're talking about a 62-year journey into my collection, and it will, it'll be here even after I'm gone, but I will be its caretaker for the next X amount of years that I'm on this planet. So I just, yeah, that's the way I look at it. It's like, even a book like this, right? But yeah, some of the older books that are in rough shape, I just figure like, I'm its caretaker now. I will not have it become, I will not see its degradation. It's not going to happen on my watch, right? Its continued degradation will cease under my protection. So I just kind of feel like I'm the Superman of comic books, right? I'm protecting the comic books from the forces that degrade and the forces that deteriorate books. What's up, man? I agree 100% with you on 9/8, right? My collection is mostly raw books. Yeah, yeah. It's the way to really enjoy the hobby. Um, and again, if you have a 9.8, or if you have if you want to collect higher end books, higher grade books, by all means do it. But you can get them so much cheaper if you just decide to buy them raw and buy them high grade raw, because a lot of collectors will, I mean, it depends on the collection you get, but if you go to certain buyers or certain collectors and they have collections where it's like Silver Age, maybe even Golden Age, but like high grade stuff, right? Those exist, but you have to pay, especially if it's with like a seller or dealer, right? You have to pay to get those. But if you're lucky enough to happen upon a personal collection, and the person wants to sell it to you and give you a great deal, and isn't too, they're in high grade, but they just want to sell the book, right? They want to move the book, and they're willing to compensate some of the value for just moving volume. I mean, that's a situation you just be really fortunate to take advantage of. But those kinds of instances are few and far between. So if you're fortunate enough to run into those scenarios, then by all means do it. But for me is like I probably overpaid for this book. Sometimes you gotta do that. Just a book you want. It's not in like the best condition, but it's kind of around the book price for the condition that it is. You might be paying. Actually, I did not overpay for this book. I told you I got this book based on the dollar book evaluations and everything I paid in that bulk purchase. I actually feel bad. I keep in my mind, I keep ripping Jason off. Maybe in Jason's mind, he's like, "Oh, I got rid of the book. I was able to sell stuff." Maybe that's what he's thinking. But I paid $19 for this book. Not even 19. I want to say it's 11. Sorry, I paid $11 for this book. 5 5. Sorry. 5 plus 8 is what? $13. I paid $13 for this book. 13. It was originally priced at 35. 13, but it's got an issue, but not that big of an issue in my view. It's like just a little bit. There's a puncture in the cover of the book, a little puncture there. No creasing though. Corners are rounded. Spine is pretty. There's wear there, but nothing crazy. It is a great looking book for this one. Again, we're getting Brainiac. He's the one that distorted Jor-El's message. He's a supercomputer from the Superman Adventures. Origin. Go watch Naman Hyung's video. Get his explanation. He explains it way better than I do. And his logic and assessment of that movie scene and what his theories on what he thinks will happen in the second gun and how they'll close the loop on evil Jor-El. It's 100% accurate. I think that's what we're going to see. So I completely 100% agree with Naman Young's assessment of that whole story arc and then how it's going to maybe pan out. So I think we're going to get a super villain in the form of this AI system called Brainiac, and Brainiac's just trying to come to life. He's Skynet. He's Skynet trying to build the Terminator body so that he can terrorize Earth and Superman and all that. So boom, there you go. Let's see here. I got Batman 423 for $10. Ooh, yeah, you told me. You told me that. Great pickup, man. On the Brainiac book, sometimes presentation is more important. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think because you can have a low-grade book, but there are degrees to how that low-grade book presents, right? You can have a book that's just like there's writing on it. Maybe there's like the reason I didn't pick up one of the books this summer, it was low grade. It just had this big, like, it looked like a turd stain or something. It was just this big brown oxidated blotch on it. I was thinking, man, I probably could wipe some of that off, but I didn't know what it was. It just looked like this, like, big, like, loogie or had dried on it and, like, oxidated and just created this big brown spot. So, really unappealing. A book that I think that does more to cause people to not want to get a book than anything. That just like weird staining, water stains, kind of that. Although water stains I don't mind because there are opportunities to get them out, and Roger's gone over that with his explanations on. So I do welcome like humidity exposed sort of staining and stiff books. Those are I think books that you can definitely improve. But yeah, a lot of the color break stuff, the rips, the coverless books, those are hard to. Although I think I'm open to getting more golden age, if as long as the book is in good condition, could care less about the cover if it's there or not. If the cover's there, even better. But if we can pick up like a golden age book for like $1, $2, which is kind of what I was presented with, I'm fine with doing that all day long. I'm fine with doing that all day long. Oh, the golden age book? Yeah. The thing is, I'm afraid to take that book out and do anything with it because it's so. There's just all these little like jagged pieces that can catch on a bag and like just flake off and stuff. It's very brittle. It's a gold. Let me get the golden age book because I love it. This is my coverless copy of Superman 84, and it's just a beautiful. I believe this is Al Plastino. This is Al Plastino artwork here on this first page here of Superman 84. The cover of this book is Lois Lane as a police officer, and it says like Lois Lane, policewoman on the beat or something like that. It's a pretty dynamic cover. It's Superman like fighting criminals in the background, and just Lois covering her beat, like oblivious to like Superman cleaning up the streets on her behalf. But this is not that story. This is entitled Superman's Other Life, and it's this weird version where Superman goes back in time, erases his reporter past in lieu of becoming a disc jockey. So it's like Clark, the famous DJ. It's DJ Clark. Yeah, this is the DJ Clark episode or issue. But love that book. I got for $2. Golden Age Superman book for $2 without a cover and shot to all hell, but $2. I'm sure a lot of you would not legally. What else we got going here? We're also saving artwork from the past. Yes. Thank you for those 15 or 12 Silverado. Nice. 12 to 15 cent Silver Edge. Yeah. Yeah, right? Again, it's just been a crazy summer of pickups. It really was a summer of Superman. Because I just don't know how to describe the euphoria I was feeling during this summer of Superman. I'm sure if you watch my videos, you see it. You see my like genuine like it just felt like I was living my best collector life this summer. There's just no other way to like describe it than yeah, I was living. It's like like a roller coaster is literally like I'm at the top, the highest peak of the roller coaster, the first peak. And now from here on out, it's just going to be, it's going to be like this, like slow ride to the bottom, right? But this summer just definitely felt like we were going down that first peak. Just like I got to see the Superman documentary and kind of bring it full circle to my love of Superman. They just get this really heartwarming story about Christopher Reeve and his, you know, his life path to becoming this character, suffering the tragedy that he did, overcoming the odds to really inspire people and inspire change, um, and helping that the community of, you know, people he's ultimately he felt his mission to speak for and help, right? So we saw that movie this summer. We saw the James Gunn version of Superman come and really create this whole new narrative and dialogue around Superman. People love the character, you know, that's great to see. People are now seeing Superman how we Superman fans have always viewed him, right? It's like they're finally seeing what we see, and they're finally talking about him the way he should have been talked about in the past, because the character has not changed. Character has not changed. Just James Gunn was able to like shout it into the megaphone loud enough for people to, I guess, hear. Maybe it took like a mass, like a you know a Hollywood blockbuster summer event to do it, but uh, it happened, and so now that whole narrative is shifted. We got people excited about Superman now. We got people excited about DC, even like the Marvel fanboys. I think you have to acknowledge Marvel's a little stale these days. Maybe they need a little life breathed into it, and I'm sure a lot of people are still gonna collect and watch both, but definitely can't deny like DC has some momentum going into this 2026, and I'm just happy to see where it goes. All right, well, like I said, we got one more Neil Adams book. That'll be our last book of the summer of Superman. And then we're going to introduce more. I'm just going to kind of do it in sections. So, for example, like these are the Wonder Woman books I picked up this summer, or these are the Marvel books I picked up this summer, and just kind of do it in sections like that, ultimately leading to a slow. Maybe I'll do them all at like 144 books. Here are my Superman books I picked up this summer. But I want to try to do it thoughtfully to where like maybe I'll group them by eras or titles or do something like that. But we'll do something creative with it. But there'll be a lot of Superman books coming your way from the summer of Superman. And again, I know I introduced it in like haul formats, but I'm going to try to, organize them and present them and try to remember what I paid for them, but give you a sort of a more curated uh, recap of my summer of Superman. So stay tuned for that. But you got to think that that's the whole point of the story of Superman, is that it teaches us that we can all be Superman and that we can show others love and kindness. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it really gets you thinking exactly that. It's like, I came out of the theater thinking like, I'm just one guy. What can I do? Well, you can stand up. You can stand up. If you see something that you know is wrong, you can stand up and say, hey, I think that's wrong. Just a simple act of courage. It's not even an act of courage. It's standing by your convictions, standing by your values, right? Um, but if you see something that by your view is wrong or shouldn't be happening, then you have the power to do something about it. You shouldn't ever compromise that sense of moral conviction by, you know, shying away from that moment, but really being like, hey man, what's going on here? I am going to help. I'm going to do my best to do the right thing, right? Just those little moments are what make us each like a version of Superman, right? Um, Fall, autumn of Superman. Oh man, I just need. Hey, if I get some money, it's a Superman season all year round. But something tells me I need to get a computer first off. So any extra money that comes in needs to go to the Otaku PC budget. I don't want to be broadcasting from my phone come this time next year. So that's that. Uh, Great talking to you as always. Have one. Yeah. Happy weekend. Happy long holiday weekend, Labor Day, guys. Hope you enjoy it with your loved ones and create some memorable moments. You know, it's like the lyrics of the song Superman. I'm listening to the music with no fear. Yeah. He's living a life of hope. Yeah. Yeah. We should all think. I think what keeps a lot of us back is the fear and the doubt, right? Like we're afraid to try, we're afraid to get in the game just because like the fear of failure, the feeling that we'll be criticized or you know like all this effort and all this like it'll just be a waste, right? I'm just gonna put myself out there, be vulnerable, but ultimately it just won't amount to anything. I think, yeah, Superman, whether you're fighting against a kaiju or just fighting that voice in your head that says you can't do it, why even try? Kind of, it's just a change in mentality, right? Like, um, if you can challenge yourself, um, even more than that, if you can challenge yourself because you're putting something bigger than yourself ahead of yourself, right? Whether that's, um, you know, somebody else, right? Somebody else's maybe what somebody else values, you're putting that ahead of what you value. Um, that's kind of like the whole message of Superman, right? Sort of these selfless acts of kindness, right? So um, that's a hard thing to do when you really think about it, right? When you really just like come down to like the nuts and bolts of who Superman is. It's a hard thing to do, but when you do it, it's so powerful. And it really makes you kind of superhuman, right? In that sense. Like, um, it's one of the hardest things to do, but when you do it, it kind of like liberates you and makes you this, it really, really makes you like a superhero um, to the others that others that you've helped impact, right, and benefit. So I guess we'll just kind of end things there. Are you going on live tomorrow, B? Yeah, all have the potential to be as good as Soups. We do, and to be honest, like sometimes it's good to have uh, Superman's a fictional character, okay? But what he represents, is it really a fictional thing? The fact that, like, here's this person just giving it their all. I mean, he's got all the power, he's got all this, but he's just like, he's in a position where he's using his gifts to help people, to protect people, to fight for uh, ideals, to fight for people, to fight for things larger than ourselves, right? Um, and there's something about that isn't fictional. That's the idea of him is not something foreign. It's not, you know what I mean? It's just it's who we are as, I think, it's our humanity, right? It's our humanity at the core. It's like we're not going to shy away from uh, things that are wrong, things that are harmful, things that are detrimental to the things we love, right? We are going to stand up and fight and protect those things. So I think ultimately Superman's just a mirror, right? He's just like a mirror. This is the mirror of what we can be, what we could strive to be. Just a reminder. And I just love that all the creators over the years have created this really magnificent fictional character, but at its core, he really is just a mirror of who we are, right? Of man, of humanity. So, boom, there you go. All right. All right, well, it's getting late. I do have to get up to take my son to Saturday school tomorrow, so I'll see you in the next one. Otaku out. Thanks for joining, guys. Peace.